What if electricity disappeared tomorrow? You wake up in your bed, turn on your bedside lamp, and it doesn't light up. You get out of bed, walk into your kitchen, turn on the coffee maker and the toaster. Nothing happens. It's as if the world has pressed the pause button on life. You step outside and there's not a single car on the street. There's no sound of traffic or even birds tweeting in the trees. Why? What happened? All around you, people are stumbling out of their houses in their pajamas, confused and frightened. The sun is shining, but something is terribly wrong. In the distance, you hear a low rumble, the sound of a jet engine. A plane is flying overhead, but it isn't making any of the sharp turns it usually does when landing. It just keeps on going. The airport has no electricity, and with no air traffic controllers, no planes can land or take off. Planes are grounded all over the world. The hospital down the street has no backup generator, and without electricity, the X-ray machines, ventilators, and other equipment become useless. Doctors and nurses try to treat patients by candlelight, but soon the emergency room is virtually shut down. Without refrigeration, blood transfusions become impossible. Soon, hospitals all over the country have shut down. Within hours, the police are stopping cars on the road and turning off their sirens. Without working streetlights, they have no way of knowing how many other cars are on the road. And without the GPS systems in their vehicles, they can't patrol very far from the station. Soon, most major roads are impassable. You try to call 911, but the phone lines are dead. No one knows what's happening. People try to contact their friends and family through social media, but the internet is down. Cell phone towers are not broadcasting. There's no way to communicate unless you have a walkie-talkie. After a few days, the food supply chains collapse. Grocery stores are full of rotting meat and produce. Food banks are unable to distribute food, and mass starvation becomes a real threat. Within a week, the water systems stop working. Pumps can no longer push water through the pipes, and the supply trucks can't keep up with demand. Riots break out in the cities as people fight over water. Gangs roam the streets looking for anyone who has bottled water. Within weeks, every major city descends into chaos. Banks are unable to process transactions. ATMs are useless. Checks don't clear. Money, in fact, is virtually worthless without the digital systems that support it. Farmers can't use irrigation. Factories can't produce goods, and most homes don't have enough stored food or water to last more than a few weeks. Within months, society as we know it has collapsed. People are forced to return to pre-industrial methods of survival. Small groups of people who have the skills to grow their own food and purify their own water will survive. But life will be incredibly difficult. Without electricity, gasoline, and other refined products, most vehicles won't run. Global trade routes will be shut down. Countries will be isolated from each other, and the only practical means of transportation will be walking, biking, or horseback riding. Most jobs will become obsolete. Construction workers, electricians, plumbers, mechanics, factory workers, truck drivers, farmers, fishermen, and others will struggle to adapt to a world without electricity. Farmers will have to use animal power to plant and harvest crops. They'll have to use old-fashioned farm equipment and techniques to process their crops. Because there's no refrigeration, they'll have to find ways to preserve their harvest. The same will be true of food processing. Factories will be unable to process meat, fruit, and vegetables. Food shortages will be widespread, and starvation will be a constant threat. People will die without the medical equipment and facilities that require electricity. No lights, no air conditioning, no refrigeration, no clean water, no sewage disposal, no roads, and no means of mass transportation. Can you imagine the chaos that will ensue? People will be fighting in the streets over food and water. Hospitals will be overwhelmed. Medical care will be virtually impossible. What would you do if the electricity went out tomorrow? How long could you survive? What would you do if it never came back on? We take so much for granted in our modern world. We think that life will just always be the way it is now. But the truth is that civilization is only one blackout away from total collapse. Let's hope it stays that way for a very long time.